Oh, fabulous question. How do you price your products when you're expanding into a new region? The first thing is not to go to a currency converter and say, I sell this for 10 in my country. What is the equivalent in the new country? That is not the way to do it. Because the problem with that is that the margins are different, the taxes are different, and there's a whole load of variables that you're not factoring in. What we need to do is we need to look at the cost price for the goods. The advantage of expanding into a new region is that what happens is we should be bringing our margin of our products down by ordering more in volume. So what we need to do is look at the margin of the product. That specific number we can convert to the region, because by converting that to the region, we're getting a comparison. But then we need to start thinking about something different, or start thinking in a different way. Then we need to think about our shipping costs, our customs costs, our duty costs. When we start adding all of these in, we need to do that in the rate that's prevalent and right for the country in which you're expanding your products into. Then what we need to do is look at what your operating costs are for operating and running that business. What are those operating costs? What do those costs look like? How do you make it so that if you cost $3 or £3 for your products over here, it's the same when you're expanding into a new region, right? So let's say, for example, we've got a product, it's £3 cost. We need to add shipping to that, customs to that, duty to that. That gets the product landed in region. We need to make sure that all the duties paid, the VAT's paid, and everything is what it is when it's landed. Now the next thing is, what happens to it here? What are the costs for selling it on the platform? Let's take Amazon. So we know that Amazon is going to take about 1/3 of all those costs. We also know that if you're going to send it into a 3PL, you're going to have some costs inside there as well. And then you want to make some profit. And you need to allow for VAT. One of the big things that people don't do here in Europe is add VAT. For some of our friends in the US, it's very common that the price you see isn't actually the price you end up paying. Because typically in the States, you'll see $10 and then sales tax gets added to it. It's very different here in Europe. The price you see includes the tax, or VAT, value added tax. So you need to make sure that price is included in your product when you're selling it. And you need to do that in region, in the currency you're doing it, to the country you're delivering it. So ultimately, you're always doing the right price structure for the right country, because there's different thresholds, different taxes. Let me give you a great example. In the UK and in the Netherlands, essentially you could argue that it's coming to the same place. But VAT is 20% in the UK and 21% in the Netherlands. All of a sudden, you've lost 1% of your margin straight away for VAT. Now, when you look at the VAT and duty of that, the duty might be 4% in the UK, but 6% in the Netherlands. You've lost 2% there. All of a sudden, there's 3% difference between the Netherlands and the UK. And that's why you need to make sure you're doing your costs per country in region to make that simple and easy to use. So what you need to do is a price analysis of what your competitors are selling that product for. Because quite rightly, your products might be selling their product for £50, but if you can't sell it for £50, is it worth selling that product? Have you got a better product? Have you got a more inferior product? Have you got better reviews on your product? So it's about doing a competitor analysis as well as understanding what the costs are for your business. Everyone's measure of success is different. Everyone looks at their business in a different way, and everyone wants instant results when they're doing something. The reality is that when you started your e-commerce business, it took you 3 years, probably, before you even started making money. Because here's the thing. Here, when you're expanding into a new region, you need to look at it as a new business opportunity. You need to consider it as a new business unit. And by expanding into a new country, we need to give it the same time and effort to make it succeed. If you've got 20 products, 20 SKUs, and you only send 2, if you don't give it any time or any support, it's going to fail. How much effort did you put into your business when you started it? How much effort, therefore, is it going to require when you expand? You've got to give it time and effort in order to succeed when you expand overseas. It's not a flash in the pan, here's a quick buck. You've got to take it seriously. You've got to have an expansion strategy that's going to enable success to happen. As I said, everyone's measure of success is different. Everyone's idea of results is different. Here's my take. I believe that e-commerce brands that do succeed typically take 2 to 3 years to expand their brand properly. What that means is they're not rinsing it for profits. They've got a strategy and they've got someone who's dedicated to making it happen. That way, you can put time and effort and resource into any expansion and therefore reap the rewards further down the line. But it isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It isn't for the faint-hearted. It is a great reward for those that want to put the time and effort in.